Top 150 genius construction tips and hacks that work extremely well. Ready to take your construction game to the next level? Forget the old rulebook. Today, we're diving into 150 genius construction tips and hacks that are going to save you time, money, and a whole lot of headaches. These are the secrets the pros use to get things done faster and smarter. Let's get right into it. First up, a simple one for painting. Before you start, rub some petroleum jelly on screw heads, hinges, or anything you don't want paint on. When you're done, the paint will wipe right off. No more tedious taping. And speaking of tape, use a piece of painter's tape to catch dust when you're drilling into drywall. Just fold it in half to make a little pocket and stick it to the wall right below where you're re-drilling. It catches all the mess. Now for cutting. Need a perfectly straight line on a long piece of wood but don't have a giant square? Use a factory-cut piece of plywood as your guide. Clamp it down and you've got a perfect edge to run your saw against. And if you're cutting pipes, wrap a piece of paper around the pipe and line up the edges. It gives you a perfect perpendicular line to follow every single time. Let's talk about screws. Ever stripped a screw head? It's the worst. Here is a trick. Place a wide rubber band over the screw head before you put your screwdriver in. The rubber fills in the gaps and gives you the extra grip you need to get it out. And for driving long screws, rub the threads with a bit of soap or wax. It reduces friction and makes them go in like butter. Working with concrete. Add a little bit of sugar to your mix if you need more working time. It slows down the curing process. But be careful, don't add too much. And to get a super smooth finish on your concrete slab, use a pool trowel. They're longer and more flexible than a standard concrete trowel, making it easier to get that perfect, glassy surface. Here's a genius hack for framing. Instead of measuring and marking every single stud, make a simple jig. Cut a piece of scrap wood to 14.5 inches, the space between your 16-inch on-center studs. Now you can just drop it in, place your next stud against it, and nail it in. It's faster and perfectly accurate. Moving heavy stuff? We've all been there. If you need to move a heavy appliance, spray some window cleaner on the floor in front of it. It creates a slippery surface that lets you slide it with minimal effort. Just be sure to clean it up afterward so nobody slips. Another great tip for moving sheet goods like drywall or plywood is to use a panel carrier. It's a simple tool that saves your back and gives you better control. Let's get into plumbing. When you're soldering copper pipes, clean the inside of the fittings and the outside of the pipe with a wire brush until they re-shiny. Then apply a thin layer of flux. This ensures a strong, leak-proof connection. And if you have a noisy pipe that rattles, you can silence it by cushioning it with foam pipe insulation or even just a piece of rubber wedged between the pipe and the framing. Back to carpentry. When you're nailing into hardwood, pre-drill a pilot hole that's slightly smaller than the nail's diameter. This prevents the wood from splitting and makes nailing much easier. And for a professional finish on your trim, use a coping saw to cut inside corners instead of a miter cut. It creates a much tighter, more forgiving joint that looks fantastic. Need to find a stud behind drywall? The magnetic stud finders are cheap and work great. But if you don't have one, try the tap test. Tap along the wall and listen for the sound to change from a hollow echo to a solid thud. That thud is your stud. You can also look for tiny nail dimples along the baseboard, which often indicate where the studs are. Let's talk organization. Use a magnetic bar, the kind you use for kitchen knives, to hold your drill bits, wrenches, and other metal tools. Mount it on the wall above your workbench for easy access. And for all those screws, nails, and small parts, repurpose old plastic jars. You can even screw the lids to the underside of a shelf so the jars hang down, saving you shelf space. Here's a great hack for demolition. When you're pulling nails, put a putty knife or a thin block of wood under the head of your hammer or pry bar. This protects the wood surface from getting damaged. And if you're taking down drywall, it's often faster to cut it into manageable sections with a reciprocating saw than to try and pull it off in one giant, messy piece. Electrical work can be tricky. Before you do anything, always turn off the power at the breaker. And to make sure it's off, use a non-contact voltage tester. It's a lifesaver. When you're pushing wires into an electrical box, fold them in an accordion style. This keeps them neat and makes it much easier to install the switch or outlet. Back to painting. If you're taking a break, don't wash your roller or brush. Just wrap it tightly in a plastic bag or plastic wrap and stick it in the fridge. It'll stay fresh for a day or two, ready to use when you are. And to avoid drips when pouring paint, punch a few holes in the rim of the paint can. The excess paint will drip back into the can instead of running down the side. Working with tile? When you're laying out your pattern, start from the center of the room and work your way out. This ensures that your cuts are balanced on opposite walls, giving you a professional, symmetrical look. And to get perfect spacing, use tile spacers. It's a small step that makes a huge difference in the final result. Here's a simple trick for your tools. Wrap different colored electrical tape around your tools to easily identify them on a busy job site. No more arguments over whose hammer is whose. And to keep your saw blades sharp longer, store them properly. A simple wooden blade holder, or even just sandwiching them between two pieces of cardboard, will protect the teeth from getting dulled. Let's look at roofing. When you're working on a steep roof, a pair of roofing brackets and a plank can create a secure foothold. And always wear proper safety gear, including a harness. For a quick repair on a leaky shingle, you can use roofing cement. Slide a putty knife under the shingle, apply a dab of cement, and press it down. When you're installing insulation, remember that compressing it reduces its effectiveness. Cut it to fit snugly, but don't stuff it in. And always wear a mask, gloves, and long sleeves when working with fiberglass insulation to avoid skin irritation. For flooring, let new hardwood or laminate acclimate to the room for at least 48 to 72 hours before installation. This allows the wood to adjust to the temperature and humidity, preventing it from buckling or gapping later on. And when you're nailing down floorboards, use a flooring nailer. It's specifically designed to drive the nails at the perfect angle without damaging the tongue of the board. Let's jump to some quick-fire hacks. Use a Pringles can to store and protect caulk tubes. Use a laser level for hanging pictures, installing tile, or setting cabinets. It's a huge time saver. Need a quick funnel? Cut the top off a plastic bottle. When you drop a small screw, use a magnet on a string to fish it out of tight spaces. To keep your extension cords from unplugging, tie them in a simple overhand knot. There are so many more, but these are some of the most impactful tricks you can start using today. From simple taping methods to smarter ways of framing and finishing, each one is designed to make your work better and your life easier. Construction is all about problem solving, and with these hacks in your toolbox, you'll be ready for anything. We've covered a lot, but this is just scratching the surface of what's possible. The best builders are always learning, always looking for a better way. So keep experimenting, keep trying new things, and don't be afraid to think outside the box. Thanks so much for watching. We hope these tips help you on your next project. If you found this video useful, give it a thumbs up and hit that subscribe button for more content just like this. And don't forget to ring the bell so you never miss an update. Let us know in the comments which hack was your favorite, or share one of your own. See you in the next one.